Welcome everyone. This is Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. I am Tracy Mango from Angels on the Prairie.
And I'm Rhonda Sean with Divine Guidance with Rhonda. And we're members of the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center. In our podcast, we're going to be delving into topics such as intuition, angelic connections, and the spiritual realm.
We're also going to talk about our own personal experiences to help you understand your own intuitive abilities. Thanks for joining us.
And let's begin.
Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about setting boundaries. So, and this is about boundaries for self. So, are they good? I would say yes. I think they're actually very good for us. It's like people think of a wall. When you put up a boundary, well, they're not walls. It's about, I've heard this saying, they're energetic agreements. Kind of love that. I think that's a great thing to know. So, I believe, and I'm sure Rhonda's in this too, but boundaries is an act of self-love, self-respect, and really good for spiritual empowerment. They help you to stay aligned. They're very good, and we talk about protecting your energy. We have in other podcasts. So it's very good for protecting self. So when I say setting a boundary, it's the way to do it for yourself. So why would I do it? It's to protect me from other energies. It's to keep I don't know the other word than saying my strength for what I do, to keep it clear, keep it energized. And by setting boundaries, whether it's for spirit, for the universe, lets them know what you expect from them and for yourself. So it's like, almost like when we talked about last week about setting an intention, you're putting out what you expect to happen for self and from, whether it's your divine, whether it's spirit, whether it's universe. So boundaries are important for self.
Yeah, they're good for also your mental well-being, and also just giving yourself grace. And I want to say really the power to say no when people are starting to ask you to do things or what. So it's energetically as well, but it's also creating boundaries with people physically in your life as well. And saying no to other people is saying yes to yourself. And it's so empowering and kind of taking back that 100% of responsibility for your actions and for your desires. And it's like, no, this isn't going to serve me well. And this is where a lot of people struggle with the balance of giving and receiving. And if you're always one to say yes, and then you kind of secretly say to yourself, oh, why did I say yes? It's like there is a bit of an imbalance, and you just kind of got to think of why. Why do I always say yes? And a lot of times if you really do some deep work, it usually ends up to be self-worthiness, and a lot of times of what other people think of me.
Yeah, it's about, again, looking after self. So, it's like, you have a conversation with somebody and you find that, it took everything out of me just to listen to that. And you wish you would have never started that conversation, or they didn't come and talk to you about that whole conversation. That's another reason that, I should have put up a boundary that, I would like to stop from hearing that kind of talk and keep myself in a better frame of mind. So you just start saying I need a boundary, to avoid certain conversations from people. That's an important one,
Yeah.
so to set up. And when you find that you are just that you just stop from having time for self, for doing your own thing, whether it's even just sitting down or reading or just doing nothing, then it's time to set a boundary so that you can set time away for self to look after self.
Yeah, and that is so important because I remember I was suffering from burnout because I was just on a go, 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 go. I was always the one that said yes. I always wanted to please other people or not let other people down. Where eventually it led me being sick, where I had to take a stress leave just so I could get that self back. And the thing is though, like I had to hold myself accountable because even though other people were asking me to do things, it's like, oh, can you take this shift or can you take this shift? I was always to say yes. I said yes more often than I said no. But what was happening was I was getting resentful of them constantly asking because I was kind of the easy ask before they would go and ask other people to cover shifts because they knew I would say yes. And it was difficult when was starting to say no. One, they were shocked because I was always the yes person. But also, I'm going, no, I'm not going to give up time with my friends and my family anymore because they were starting to rely on me so much, and when I did say no they were annoyed with me, but I had to accept that because it's like I my health was starting to suffer from it, and that's what will happen. It starts to erode, and it really takes very little if we give ourselves permission to say no so it can fill our cup, then we can give again. And then I've always asked why? Why am I saying yes? And because sometimes our yes can bring in that layer feature of going, what is it that I feel compelled to say yes?
Oh, I get it. I've been, in my years, I'm big volunteer in many different associations and organizations in my life, whether I've volunteered for many different things. And then when I was young, and then when I had children, and then even when I started this work, that I love helping other people learn. I love just period helping people, teaching people. And your love of what you do, you can burn out and become very resentful of what you do and how you do it. So then, and it's funny how you don't even understand that it's happening until you've already hit that point that you are burnt out, you're super resentful, and that you're ready to be done. And then you realize you should have set up some boundaries, and you learn and you start. And sometimes it's a lesson for us to learn that you need to put boundaries up. And there's archangels that you can work with to help you set up boundaries. We use Metatron for setting up shields daily. But we also use Archangel Michael. Like, he's our protector. We use him for cutting cords. And if we feel we need like a boundary for somebody specific, like I'll literally say, Michael, I need a boundary between me and this person. And then I'm using Gabrielle always for clear communication, so that when I ask for the boundary, that she helps me with clarity and compassion. So, it's it's important if you can use your archangels. They really help you with boundaries. Like it's worth it. Uriel is with your wisdom. So it's a female for me. There, like I say, some can be male or female, but she will help you see where your boundaries are needed if you just ask. It's important to talk with your archangels, to help with anything, but definitely boundaries are very good.
Yeah, I know. And see, sometimes when we do our boundaries, there's life lessons in our boundaries as
Yeah.
well. And it's like, oh, okay, I allowed this to happen. But it's all about taking accountability. And because really, you're the one who responds to situations, however you choose to do them. It's just kind of like, I want to say, we'll just use the pandemic. Some people thrived in the pandemic and a lot of people didn't, but it was just the way they chose to respond to it. Because the line that I always go back to, and I don't know who coined it, is life is happening for you and not to you. And where our job is how are we going to respond to it? Now, everything is not going to be sunshine and roses, but it's just like, how are we going to respond? What lessons are we going to learn? What changes do I need to make to prevent it from happening again? And it's like, and giving yourself ease and grace is you're doing the best you can with what you have.
Oh,
And that I think is like it gives yourself permission to be acknowledging a mistake that may have been made and just reviewing it and going, how can I make this situation better next time when it comes up? How can I respond better? And then it's just advocating for yourself. And sometimes that advocation means asking for help. You're not an island. And this was a big life lesson for me because I was so used to doing everything on myself. And I think my team put in blocks and obstacles where I was in a position now where I had no choice but to ask for help.
yeah. Well, it's, you know, boundaries for self, and they're to help protect you and really make you a better person.
Yep.
Okay, so here we're going to do, we sometimes remember and sometimes we don't, to pull a card at the end. So let's see, what does everyone need to know for their greater good this moment in time? So the card is surrender. Actually, there's two, to be honest. Surrender to the divine, meditate, and contemplate. So, in other words, they're saying, I'm just hearing ask, ask, ask. They're again unable to help until you ask. So, and they're saying meditate and contemplate is like think things through. Make some decisions about your boundaries. So again, ask. Remember, I had mentioned about ask Michael for the protection, for Gabrielle for the communication. My goodness.
Uriel
Oh,
for
Uriel for to help you understand. So, yeah. So, anyways, have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great week. Bye. Thank you for listening to Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. If you would like to work with Tracy and Rhonda, our information is posted in the show notes.
Now, our new episodes are going to fall on Tuesdays. So if you're interested in receiving a free meditation on connecting to your guardian angels, click that link below to subscribe to the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center newsletter. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, everybody.